Decluttering the toy closet has been on my to-do list for like months, and I haven't done it because it's overwhelming, it's stressful, anxiety inducing, it's usually pretty exhausting, and time consuming. Who wants to do that? Nobody. So here's what usually happens. I spend hours cleaning and organizing things, and then 5 seconds go by and things get dumped out and put into containers where they don't belong, and it's a huge mess again, and I'm stressed. I'm a little angry about it and resentful because I have to spend my time cleaning it up. I get overwhelmed because there's just too much to do. The kids are stressed and they're overwhelmed because they don't know how to manage it. Toys are getting lost and broken, money is wasted, and then you know what happens? The kids end up watching screens. So then I came up with this radical idea, but really what I'm going to do is hide 90% of the toys. I'm going to box up 90% of the toys, the costumes, all the games, all that kind of stuff, and just leave out a select few that I think and I know that they play with, and then maybe introduce more if I feel like it, or if not, maybe I'll get rid of them. So let's talk about strategies to help here, because I need them. And I think that you need them too, and that's why you're here. So all the resources say to start with a why. Why are you doing this? I have a few reasons why. I want to create space for imagination and play. I want to help my kids rediscover the joy of toys. We spend so much time on screens. I want them to rediscover that they can have an imagination, that they can play by themselves, and that they're capable of that, and it's fun. I definitely want to reduce clutter and have a cleaner home. Don't we all? Also, there's some really interesting research about kids having too much toys and some of the drawbacks for that. Research shows that kids get overwhelmed by having too many options. By narrowing those options, we take away that overstimulation and they're able to independently play for longer periods of time. That's a win. We start with why, because it helps us have motivation to power through those difficult moments. This is not something that's going to be an overnight fix. I'm hoping that by taking away 90% of the toys that it is kind of an overnight fix, but I still have to deal with those toys. Like, I'm not getting rid of them, at least not immediately. So I need to have some motivation behind it because it only gets me so far. A few more reasons why more is not better. Number one was kids have a hard time sharing. They become overstimulated, which we do as well, right? Too many toys limits creativity. They don't take care of their toys. They're not valuing them. They are just throwing them around because there's more toys. How do you value something when you have 100 of them? You're going to more likely value something if you only have 10, right? Kids will have a difficult time entertaining themselves. This is interesting, but it's found that if kids have too many toys, they actually are usually not physically active enough. It can hamper problem solving. Kids will argue more. Their discontentment is greater. Absolutely. Like the arguing thing. They're just not content with what they have. I think this is a whole human problem. We're not content with what we have, and then we just want more and more and more, and it just becomes this big problem. And reason number 10, kids are messier if they have more toys. Your house is messier. There's more clutter. There's more stress. It's just a little too much.
So this is my situation with the toys. I've got some big bins here that I still need to sort out. And in this closet, I've got little bins that I've already sorted. There's quite a few of them, so it'll be nice to reduce that. And then in this closet, we've got some books, some games, puzzles, and costumes. And the costumes are just all in one big box and a heap mess. And, you just can't get at anything. It's just all gets thrown out if they do try to get something.
So now that we've assessed what kind of closet situation we have, maybe you just have a wardrobe or a shelf in your living room. I have 2 closets that I am going to try to organize. I want one closet to be my storage closet, and I'm going to actually install some kind of lock so that the little kids can't get into it. A lock sounds kind of extreme, but something to keep the door closed most of the time for the little kids and if friends come over, because I don't want everything dumped out, right? This is going to be my accessible closet for them. where they can come and pull out things that they want to play with. But it's going to be slimmed down. It's going to have just a few options in it instead of all the options. So assess your own room, your own area. Do you have room to store extra toys? Decide how many toy bins do you think that you'll have available at one time. If you just have a spot under your TV, maybe there is just 3 spots for bins. And right now your floor or the shelves or whatever are covered and you want to clean that all off. So you're going to decide, I'm just going to do 3. Decide where the toys are going to live. So I have a variety of containers that I'm going to keep. There are some of them that I'm just going to get rid of for sure. I've been thinking about it for a little while now and I know what toys I want to get rid of. So I'll have some empty bins that I can use. This is exciting to me. All right, let's get into the process. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to gather together all of the toys, group them into categories. Basic toy categories are figurines. These are things like your little people. They could be action figures, animals, princesses. There are building toys. You got Legos. You got blocks. You got Magnetiles. You got Connects, Lincoln Logs. Then you have food type things, kitchen type things. Maybe some little cookware or dishes. Vehicles and tracks. So you're thinking cars, trains. You have games, puzzles, board games, card games. Make sure you sort out the baby specific toys. There may be rattles, shape sorters. That's like a tongue twister. Little pull toys, those kind of things that babies use. You have your role play, your costumes, your dress up, jewelry, hats, crowns, dolls and accessories. So that could be dolls, plush toys, the clothes that they have, their little accessory things, cradles, blankets, hair accessories. A doll house, that could include the furniture, the people, and then you might have a category that's just random things that you're not really sure where to put. That's okay. There's 2 ways you can declutter. You could declutter in a big giant overhaul where you just throw all the toys down and you start picking things up and just gathering up some of the things and tossing away the things that you know off the top of your head that are definitely going to be worth donating or throwing away. The downside here is that it's very overstimulating for you as the parent. It can be stressful for you. It can also be stressful for your child if your child is around. And it can be really time consuming. And it can take up a lot of space. Once you start, you kind of have to keep going until you're done. It's painful. But there are some goods. It means that you get it all done all at once. That's great. That means you're done. The second method I think you could use for decluttering is what I'm going to coin the ice sculpture method. I don't know if it has another name or anything, but that's what I'm going to call it, because what you do is you chip away at it over time. So you get all your toys organized, and then you could, like I am, store some of them so that they're out of the way. And then the ones that they have out, you just gently chip away at them day after day or week after week. You just kind of notice, hey, my kid's not playing with that one anymore, or that's really not holding their attention for very long. They are always arguing about this one. Do we actually need it? It's a little bit easier to spot those broken toys and to get rid of them right away. You're just gently chipping away at the excess over a period of time instead of trying to hammer it all out in one go. So with this method, it's going to be important to really watch your child play and pay attention to, like, what do they actually play with the most? One of the things that I'm going to really watch for is, because my 3-year-old sometimes gets frustrated with her toys, I'm going to try and pay attention to which toys those are. Usually that means that she's trying to play with something that's developmentally more advanced than she is. And so her little fingers and stuff just can't push those little Legos together, but she really wants to. So things like that maybe needs to be slimmed down so that it's not quite so overwhelming. The other thing that I'm going to watch out for is things that don't hold their attention. So why keep a toy if it's only going to entertain them for 2 minutes? And also that they don't play well together with, that they don't play together well with, that they have trouble sharing. So the thing that I am repeating to myself, and maybe you want to too, is that toys that are not being played with are just adding to the clutter and stress of your home. Just repeat that phrase in your mind a couple times, okay? Toys that aren't being played with, they aren't being used, they aren't being loved, They're just adding to the clutter and the stress in your home. You can do this. Just let those things go. There's this really great analogy that I read the other day, and it was about your kitchen. Think about cooking in your kitchen. If you were searching for a certain utensil that you needed to cook with, and imagine that you're shuffling through the drawer and there is just 10 times more utensils in there than what you need, and you're looking for it and it's just getting frustrating, you would probably give up on cooking pretty quickly, right? Or you'd get rid of that stuff. The same goes for our kids. They get overstimulated. There's just too much. That's why you'll find kids dumping toys, because they're looking for something usually. Or they think that that's their job, is to just dump them out. Like, oh, Mom put the toys out back in the box. Good. I dump them out. Mom puts them away. It's a game. Especially for little kids. They think that that is fun. What they don't realize is that you're supposed to play with those toys. But they're overstimulated because there's too many of them. Okay, so if I've done my job well, you are ready to start decluttering. You've got your toys kind of organized into some groups, so you kind of know what you have, and you can really start looking at them. This is where I'm at. Well, almost at. I have to sort through these ones, which I'm going to do right after I film this. But here are 11 ways you can easily declutter some toys today. Number 1, get rid of the toys that are broken or missing pieces so you can't actually play with it. You know, you can either decide, is this fixable? Is this something I want to fix? Is it something that I could donate and someone else could fix? Those are absolutely possibilities. Just kind of consider that and what you want to do in your family. Number 2, was this a freebie that came in like a Happy Meal or as like a birthday little gift bag thing? Oftentimes they're good for a few minutes. They break easily and they just add to the clutter of our home. Number 3, is this developmentally appropriate for my child? Sometimes it's too babyish for older children, and sometimes it's too hard for the little children. Like I was saying with Lego. My daughter built this today. She's 3, but it was really hard. She can't pull them apart. It's really not developmentally her age. But it's around because her 8-year-old brother plays with them. So there's going to be some give and takes there, but try to maybe even create zones of like, this is the 3-year-old zone's toys, this is the 8-year-olds. Sometimes they're going to play with each other's toys, that's totally okay. But I think by slimming our toys down, I'm going to have less frustration from the little one because she'll have more of her toys that she'll want to play with. Duplicates. Usually we don't need duplicates. We are keeping a couple of dolls, but I don't need 8 of them, right? So just kind of decide what number is best for your family and for what type of toy. We have a whole bucket of car toys. I need to go through and see like how many of those car toys do we actually play with. We just got a new Hot Wheels road track set, so I want ones that fit on that, but I don't necessarily need other cars unless my child is interested in keeping those. The other thing you can start to get rid of, not Lego, but sometimes the little pieces that come with Lego are just extra and they're not really needed. I will be going through all of our Lego and slimming it down. This was for like a little street sweeper. It's just a random piece. I don't need it for most of the time for their building things. It's going to go into a separate box than the regular Lego box so that it's not getting in the way. The other thing that I want to get rid of is large toys that take up a lot of room. This is a baby toy and it's big and it's been taking up room and it needs to go. It's both developmentally inappropriate right now and it's a large toy. We do not need it in our house. It's going to be going. Goodbye. Other large toys could be, maybe you've got like a little basketball hoop. If they're not playing with that basketball hoop, is it worth keeping? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe you have like a little indoor slide thing. Again, is it appropriate? Do they play with it? Ask yourself those questions. This one's a little creepy because it makes noises. She's talking when I'm talking. The other category is conceptually fixed toys. This toy, it moves, it makes noise, but it doesn't leave much to the imagination. So it's kind of fun. but it's probably one that's not going to be staying around my house for very long. Yeah. The next one is toys that do too much and break too easy. We've got like this Playmobil police set. Break too easy. And this is a little extreme. I think somebody stepped on it. But it was a frustrating toy to put together and for my son to use at the time. You might love Playmobil. I'm not dissing them. I'm just saying there might be some toys that you have in your toy closet that need to go because they're broken, but also because they're difficult to play with. If their toys are like really annoying, if it dramatizes offensive or corrosive play, this little guy's not really that bad, but there are some toy guns that look very realistic. Those just don't have a place in my house. For a long time I didn't allow any toy guns, but you know, they just sneak their way in there anyways. You know, assess what your values are as a family. Sometimes games can be a little corrosive and just lame. Another one to watch out for is toys that are really stimulating, a little too stimulating. There's lots of lights, there's lots of sounds. Those are sometimes a little too overwhelming, too stressful. Like, for example, let me tell you a story. My niece is the oldest grandchild on my parents' side, and I gifted her a Elmo electric guitar thing that made noise, and she loved it, and it played little songs, but it got put away for special occasions because it was very annoying. And so knowing what you find annoying in your home can be very helpful for setting boundaries and limits. And maybe you put away those toys that are extra stimulating just for times when like a parent is sick or a kid is sick. Something like that can maybe be helpful. The other toy category to watch out for is those ones that promise some kind of educational benefit. Oh, I know. A while ago when my oldest son was like 5, just learning to talk, we had a game. It like connected to the TV. It was kind of like a video game, kind of like a movie a little bit. And it had the alphabet letters that went into like a little case thing, and you would spell words kind of things. That's all great and good and all that kind of stuff, but it's not free play toys. So things like that. There's also, usually they're electronic things. There was another one we had that was like a little screen, and they could pick like, count how many bubbles with me, and you're counting those kind of things. It's just not a great free play toy. What it can be good for is car rides, if it's just like a little handheld thing. But for your playroom, it really doesn't need to be there for your kid just to sit in the corner and be pushing buttons. Like, that's not very imaginative, right? So what we're going for is free play, creative, imagination space. So those kind of things will not be here in the house. And the last category that you can freely get rid of are those little fad toys, the things that just kind of come up that are really super popular, and you're worried about like, oh no, it's gonna sell out. Like, do you guys remember Tickle Me Elmos and how they sold out? What was the point of that toy anyways? It just like made noise. It's kind of lame, but it totally sold out. So something like that is definitely a fad toy. You don't need those kind of things. Let it go, people. Let it go. Now that you've gone through all your toys, you've decluttered them, your space is looking beautiful. My space isn't there yet. But let's pretend that we have. We're all done. It's all beautiful. It's all fabulous. Now what? How do you keep that space clutter-free? You are now a toy curator of your home. Congratulations. You are the parent. You pay for the home, the space that you live in. You get to set the boundaries. Respectful boundaries, of course, but there still needs to be some kind of boundaries. One of the boundaries you have to set is with yourself. You can't be buying all the latest toys anymore. Or you might need to have a special rule like in with one, out with one. So then that way you're just not overwhelmed. If you're committed to keeping those 3 baskets and just having that for your toy storage, then you need to be committed to doing that. What about relatives, gift giving seasons, those kind of things? Try giving them specific gift ideas. You know, like my child is collecting this type of toy, and send them a direct link so that they have that. They might buy it, they might not, or maybe put money towards that thing. You could suggest alternatives like experiences, experiment, box of the month kind of thing. I cannot think of what they're called, but you know what I mean, where you have like a subscription or something. Could be subscription to some kind of cool science thing, or it could be a subscription to your museum, or something where you like trade in books with other books. There's a lot of things out there, a lot of options that might be a good match for your family. If they're really dead set on giving your kids toys, just really encourage them to do something that sparks imagination. Less is more, and like play silks and wood toys, and think Montessori a little bit, because those kind of things require the child to use their mind more. So it's like I want to call it a healthier toy. It's not necessarily healthier, but you know what I mean? It helps to create that imagination just a little bit more than static plastic figurines do. And really just remember to be grateful and gracious to those people. They are giving you gifts because they love you, they love your children, and that is such a nice thing to have in this world. So make sure you thank them. But obviously they don't want to cause you stress. That's not their point in giving you gifts. So just try to have an open mind, try to be gracious, and also just try to, steer them in the right direction if you can. So I mentioned this before, but you could do the one in rule, the one out rule. So if you have something coming into your home for Christmas, say, you could say, okay, you got this set for Christmas. Which set do you want to let go of, donate, throw away if it's almost garbage anyway? That way your child learns to really value what they have, and that they appreciate the things that are in front of them a little bit more. Before you call me a Scrooge, what this does is it actually helps to teach children to make good choices. It helps them to figure out what they actually like and don't like. Think of how valuable that is. I think I grew up in a generation where I definitely was blessed having lots of things in my life. But there has been downsides, and one of the downsides has been that I have more difficulty figuring out what do I actually like what do I like, not just like what is the world telling me to like. And I think that by giving your children choices of like what they keep and what they don't keep, it can really help them curate in their mind the list of things that they do and don't like. Now, with that thought, what we haven't talked about is, do you declutter with your children? My suggestion is, if your child is under the age of, I'm going to say 6, you can leave them out of the decluttering process. You can be the parent and decide, like, what do they actually play with, what don't they play with, and curate their toys based on your observations. Being respectful of the things that you know that they absolutely love, even if it's not your favorite. That is my suggestion. If the child is older than 6, I would suggest deciding what you think could go, and then presenting the options to your child of, here are these 4 or 5 things. Which one do you want to keep? Which one is your favorite? And then that way they know they get a choice in the matter. You're going to respect that choice. But also they can't keep all the things. It just gives them a little bit of a boundary. Coming to the end here, let's talk about another way you can help reduce the clutter in your home is to schedule regular times to clean out your home, to clear up the clutter, to purge, to declutter, whatever you want to call it. I suggest putting it in your phone, scheduling it just like a regular appointment. Maybe you want to schedule it every 2 months. Maybe you just want to schedule it for before Christmas, before their birthday, and at the end of summer. Those 3 times are like the best times because kids know that they're getting new things anyways. Going back to school, Christmas, the holidays, those kind of things. Those are really great times to declutter the kids' toys because they know things are going to be replacing those things. They need to make room for more. Really set the boundary with yourself and with your kids of, this is how many of this thing we're going to keep, or this is the box of Lego. We're not going to get any more than that, or we're going to have to kind of downsize on what we have so we could fit more in. By having boundaries, it helps your brain, it helps your kids be more accepting of the choice and decision. They can even be part of that decision of like, how many dolls do you think that you need if you have your friend come over? And then she can decide, how many dolls do I like? And we usually play with 4 or something like that, right? After doing all this decluttering, your home is nice and clean now. Now, what you want to do to help keep it that way is to point out the good. Really focus on that good stuff. You could comment on how helpful your child's being to clean up the room, or how nice and clean and peaceful their room feels when it's clean, or the toy room feels, wherever you keep your toys. Point out how fast you guys can clean up now, or that, wow, we cleaned up so fast we have extra time, we can go to the park today, or something like that. And my last suggestion is to have a donating party. Just really celebrate. You gather up the things, find what you're going to donate, take them to the center where you're going to donate them to, or maybe a friend's house if the friend wants them. On your way home, you have a special little outing. We are going to celebrate by going to swimming, or we're going to go get ice cream, or, something like that. Just to celebrate that, like, you guys did something that was hard today. You made decisions that were hard. Let's celebrate. By celebrating, you reward your brain, and it makes it more likely that you'll do it again and again because you got that reward from it. I hope that these tips have been helpful for you in deciding how to curate your toys, become the toy curator of your home, and just make a less stressful and more happy life for you and your family. I hope that watching me go through my toys has been helpful for you, and if you like this video, please subscribe for more videos like it. I love sharing tips that help people save time, energy, and money, and I hope you have a wonderful day. See you in the next episode.